Okay, Jai Mahakaal everyone. Welcome back to Mahakaal Anant. If this timeless reading has found you today, trust that Spirit has guided you here for a reason. Today's love and relationship tarot reading carries an incredibly gentle yet powerful message. This isn't a reading about chasing someone. It's about it's not about forcing love. It's about what happens after silence, after distance, and after emotional exhaustion. After both hearts have had time to process everything that was left unsaid, Spirit is showing a connection that has not ended. Instead, it has been quietly healing beneath the surface. Sometimes the greatest moment in love happens when nothing appears to be happening at all. Let's see what Spirit wants us to know. Now, the first card here is Four of Swords, which shows the present energy. Spirit says this connection has entered a season of rest, not because love disappeared, but because both hearts became tired. Sometimes life asks us to pause, not as punishment, but as preparation. One or both of you may have stepped back emotionally. Perhaps communication became inconsistent. Perhaps circumstances became overwhelming. Perhaps there were misunderstandings that neither person knew how to fix. The Four of Swords tells me this silence wasn't empty, it was necessary. While you believed nothing was changing, healing was taking place. Old wounds were being examined, old fears were beginning to soften. Spirit says this pause wasn't the end of your story. It was the space both souls needed before they could truly hear themselves again. If you have been asking why has everything become so quiet, the answer is simple because healing often whispers before love speaks again. Now let's move to the card 2, which represents the challenge, and that is Ace of Cups. This is beautiful. The challenge isn't whether love exists, the challenge is allowing it to flow again. The Ace of Cups is overflowing with emotional possibility. Yet in the challenge position, Spirit says someone is afraid to open their heart. Not because they don't feel anything, but because they have felt too much. Sometimes, after disappointment, people protect themselves by pretending they need nothing. Yet, beneath that protection, love still exists. Someone still wonders about you. Someone still remembers the little moments, the conversations, the laughter, the comfort of your presence. Spirit says this connection doesn't need grand gestures, it simply needs emotional honesty. Love cannot enter her heart that refuses to unlock its own door. Now let's move to the card number 3, and which is Four of Wands. This card represents the foundation. Now Spirit shows us what has always existed beneath everything: the stability, safety, belonging. This isn't a connection built only on attraction. There is something much deeper. The Four of Wands often appears when two souls feel strangely familiar, almost as if meeting each other awakened something that has been quietly waiting for years. For many of you, this person doesn't simply feel like someone you loved, they feel like someone you could build a life beside. Spirit says both souls desire peace far more than conflict. Home isn't always a place. Sometimes it's simply a person whose presence makes your heart feel calm. Now let's move to the card number 4, and that is Page of Wands. This talks about your recent past. Recently, something shifted. Perhaps someone became curious again. Perhaps they checked your profile, thought about sending a message, remembered something that made them smile, or simply wondered, what if we still have a chance? The Page of Wands brings renewed optimism. It represents the first spark after a long period of darkness. It's that tiny voice inside saying, maybe the story isn't over. Spirit says hope returned quietly, long before either of you admitted it. Now let's move to the card number 5, and that is 8 of Pentacles. This talks about the conscious energy. Now we see where someone's mind has been: growth, improvement, learning. Instead of trying to control the connection, someone has been trying to become a better version of themselves. Healing emotional patterns, working on patience, learning healthier communication, becoming more emotionally available. Spirit reminds us that healthy love isn't found, it's built. One honest conversation, one act of trust, one day at a time. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't saying, I love you. It's becoming the kind of person who knows how to love well. Now let's move to the card number 6, which talks about the immediate future, and that is 5 of Cups. The next card may look heavy at first, but Spirit is asking us to look beyond the surface. The 5 of Cups is not the end of the story. It's the moment someone finally allows themselves to feel what they have been avoiding. This person has carried disappointment for a long time. Perhaps they regret words they never spoke. Perhaps they replay the moment everything changed. Or perhaps they still wonder whether things could have been different if only they had been more honest. Spirit shows someone standing between the past and the future. For a while, they kept staring at what had been lost, but they haven't yet realized that behind them, two full cups are still standing. Hope has never completely disappeared. Love has never completely disappeared. The opportunity to begin again still exists. Sometimes healing begins the very moment we stop asking, why did this happen? And start asking, what can we build from here? Spirit says this emotional release is necessary, not to punish either of you, but to create room for something healthier. Now let's move to the card number 7, which is King of Cups. This talks about your energy. Now, Spirit turns the mirror towards this connection. The King of Cups reversed isn't someone without emotions. Quite the opposite. This is someone whose feelings have become so deep that they no longer know how to express them. One moment they see calm, the next they are overwhelmed by memories. They may appear distant, but inside, their emotional world is far louder than they allow anyone to see. Spirit says someone has spent so much time trying to remain composed that they have forgotten vulnerability isn't weakness. Real love asks us to risk being understood. The cards encourage emotional honesty, not dramatic declarations, not chasing, simply allowing your truth to exist without fear. Sometimes, the strongest person in a relationship is the one willing to stay. This is how I truly feel. Now, let's move to the card number 8, and that talks about your environment, and this is Magician. This is where the energy begins to change dramatically. The Magician says nothing is missing. Everything required for this connection to move forward already exists. The feelings are present, the opportunity is also present, the possibility is also present. The only question is whether someone is ready to use what Spirit has already placed before them. This card often appears when communication becomes possible again. When confidence returns, when misunderstandings begin to dissolve, Spirit reminds us that transformation doesn't happen by waiting forever. It happens when intention meets action. Words carry incredibly Words carry incredible power. One honest conversation, one genuine apology, one courageous message can completely alter the direction of a relationship. Spirit says the universe has opened a door. Now someone simply has to choose to walk through it. Now let's move to the next card, which is the Devil. This talks about hopes and fears. Sorry, this is Devil reversed. This is one of the most liberating cards in today's reading. The Devil reversed isn't about becoming trapped, it is about becoming free. Free from fear, free from emotional baggage, free from repeating the same painful cycles that kept this connection stuck. Someone is finally recognizing that love cannot grow where fear controls every decision. Perhaps fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, fear of abandonment, or fear of making the same mistakes again. Spirit says these genes have never been as strong as they appeared. The moment both people stop allowing fear to lead, everything begins changing. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough in love isn't finding the perfect person, it's finally releasing the version of yourself that believed you had to protect your heart at all cost. Now let's move to the final card, which is card number 10, and this talks about the final outcome. Eight of Wands. What a beautiful ending. After all the silence, movement, after all the waiting, communication, after all the emotional distance, momentum, the Eight of Wands rarely arrives quietly. Spirit says this connection begins moving much faster than it has in the past. For some, this may be an unexpected message. For others, a conversation you have been waiting to have. For many, it simply marks the moment when emotional energy finally begins flowing naturally again. Notice something remarkable about today's spread. It began with it began with stillness and it ends with motion. That's the spirit's message. Now let me summarize the today's reading for you. As I look across the entire spread, one message echoes through every card. Silence was never meant to become your destination. It was meant to become your teacher. The pause gave both the hearts time to breathe, to reflect, to mature, and to understand what truly matters. Spirit shows that love has not disappeared. It has been quietly transforming beneath the surface. There are still emotions waiting to be expressed. There are still conversations waiting to happen. There are still possibilities waiting to unfold. There are, but this next chapter asks something different from both of you. Not perfection, presence. Not fear, honesty. Not control, trust. The cards don't promise that every relationship returns exactly as it once was. Instead, they promise that healing changes people, and changed people create different relationships. If this connection moves forward, it won't simply be a continuation of the past, it has potential to become something healthier, wiser, and more emotionally secure than before. Trust the timing, trust your own growth, and trust that what is truly meant for you will never require you to abandon your peace to receive it. Now let's see what are the strongest zodiac signs. So we have Virgo, Capricorn, Cancer, Pisces, Leo, Aries, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. So if you have any of these zodiac signs, so this reading may be for you. Now let's see what are the angel numbers highlighted today. We have 222, 444, 111, 555, 777, and 888. So if you have been seeing these numbers repeatedly, simply take them as gentle confirmations. So, if this reading resonated with your heart, let me know in the comments by writing Jai Mahakal. I trust the timing of my love story. If you enjoyed today's reading, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Mahakaal Anant for more timeless love readings, spiritual guidance, and channel messages. Until we meet again, may Baba Mahakal bless your heart with peace, your relationships with truth, and your future with a love that arrives at exactly the right time. Har Har Mahadev, Jai Mahakal. I'll see you in the next reading. Till then, take care. Bye bye.